Welcome back to Gopher's Workshop. I am your host, Aaron, and joining me, as always, are my fellow hosts, Chris.
Hello.
And Sky.
I didn't do it.
You never do. Today, on this episode, we're going to talk about something that needs talked about, apparently. You ready for this one?
Before, but we have updates.
Instead of talking about it, we could just ban it.
Nope, that's how everyone else got in trouble.
This is what causes the problem, Sky.
In fact, exactly that caused the problem.
I'm extremely aware.
Oh, gosh. All right. So we're going to be talking about, if you haven't picked up on the notes yet, we're going to be talking about Dakaa Detachment.
It's called More Dakka.
I'm sorry. More Dakka. Yeah, I feel like it's just Dakaa now, but
it's less Dakaa now, for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's just Dak. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. So our resident orc expert, Sky, here is here to give us his input, of course, today. We missed you last episode, buddy.
It's okay. I'm still alive.
All right, Chris, we're going to pass it over to you. Let's give us some Dakaa.
I mean, we got some updates. I guess we can start with the history in case you didn't hear, but there was a couple of new detachments that came out. One of them was called More Dakka for Orcs. It gave everything basically, well, not everything. It gave all infantry and walkers Sustain 2, which was the hot button issue, and also Assault. Long story short, the internet and some TOs lost their goddamn mind. Within 2 weeks, which, as I said in my previous episode, was not enough time to know anything. When your average player gets in like one game a week and you're like crazy, I have no life, I'm unemployed person gets in like 4 games a week, that still isn't enough time to actually figure out whether something is broken or balanced or whatever. You need time to adjust. Your opponents need time to adjust. Anywho, within the first 2 weeks, the internet absolutely lost its mind and said this new More Dakka Detachment was so broken, it was going to warp the entire meta, and it was completely unfair to the point where there was several GTs that actually banned it from their event before, again, this is like 2 weeks after it came out, before GW was allowed to, for the most part, put out any updates or corrections or anything else. From my perspective, having literally talked to GW's, like one of their main reps, I don't even want to say rep because he's not like one of the distro reps. He's the guy who's running the approved TO program. So he is very concerned about competitive play in tournaments. That's like his only job. He basically said, I just wanted to wait till after Adepticon. If everyone's concerned about it, we're listening. They're going to, take what everyone's saying into consideration, but they needed some actual data. So all they wanted to do was wait till after Adepticon when they had real data, and it would make some adjustments. But again, there was not one, but multiple TOs that could not be bothered to wait an extra week, even though their tournaments were not the week after. They could not be bothered to wait. They just found the hype of the internet losing their mind, and I don't know if they wanted to advertise or just be involved in the conversation, but they could not wait.
I have a bunch of things to say about this on like a bunch of different levels. And the first one I would like to put out there is that everyone complains about the Codex release system, right? And how some armies get updated like a whole year or two earlier than other ones. Some factions have 7 detachments while others have like 1 or maybe 2, let alone whether they're good or whatever, right? GW was like, okay, well, we put out the Gramus attachments and everyone was pretty happy about that, right? Everyone got a little treat, some stuff to play, some different lists to build. And so this is them like trying to continue doing that in some form. And we basically immediately spit in their face and said, no, we don't want nice things. Stop giving us free detachments. You're destroying the game. What? Don't you think that that is probably bad? Now, next time when they're like, well, should we release a free detachment for everyone? What happened last time? Everyone freaked out and got pissed.
And I honestly think it's worse than that. Like, all that's true. It kind of objectively is. We don't want to, like, the internet is never going to admit that's true, but it is. But I think it's actually worse than that, because we didn't just get a new orc detachment. We got like 3 or 4 new detachments. Custodes, who at the time were absolutely on top. They were the most winningest faction. They got a new detachment. Why? I don't know, but that's fine. Like, I'm not going to balk at nice things. They got a new detachment, and their new detachment is so good. There's a lot of competitive Custodes players who are like, yeah, I'm already on top, but I might switch because that might be better. Like, It's not like they were just handing out crazy detachments across the board. There was like real choices for Custode players of like, maybe this is better, maybe that's not. And I would even make the argument that that was true for the orc players. This new detachment is a shooting detachment. And while it's like, no, it's really good, maybe I should play it. There's absolutely a fair and reasonable argument of like, no, but like Bully Boys double wah, it's melee oriented. Like, maybe I do that.
Well, my thing is like taking into account the detachments they released, these look like detachments meant to balance the meta. You can say that Custodes were already on top, but then now they introduce some new ideas, right? So that all the Custodes lists don't look the same. This Dakkaa detachment says, oh, you're spamming this? Well, this Dakkaa detachment is the counter to that. It doesn't counter every list. It's not powerful like that. They were acting like it was. The Dakkaa detachment in its original form is literally like a counter to Custodes.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
It's not a counter to like everything. And the thing is, okay, so this now going into the detail of the detachment itself, it's like, yeah, Sustain 2 is good. You're saying these orcs virtually hit on 3s, saying we're not debuffing them. There's a bunch of stuff that's -1 to hit and whatever, right?
Yep.
And orcs were already sensitive to that because their base ballistic skill on most guns is like not great. So you're relying on swinging up into 6s. You don't have a way to like give crits on 5s or something. So you're literally fishing for 6s. When it spikes, you get a bunch of extra dice. When it doesn't spike, it's a wet paper towel. The thing is that it's super risky. It's an orc detachment. That's normal, right? That's what you expect from them.
Correct.
I just don't. I don't understand why people thought, oh, sustained 2 on like 10 shots in a tank bustas unit. It might be 12, whatever. Like the average, I think they're D3 each. But my point is that like, does that look so different from Dark Reapers? Does that look so different from like Necron shooting? Does that look so different from like 15 other things? They're not even that cheap. Like, they're little 2-wound T5 bodies with trash saves. Even during the WA, it's a 5-up invul. Like, it's not nearly as powerful as 15 other things that aren't talking about getting banned.
Correct.
There are other things in the detachment that are less clear that I think were problems. Like if we bring up like Zodgrod and the fact that everyone was taking them and then pumping these super grots into the WA every turn for 1 CP. That was crazy because it was 1 CP. They changed it to 2 and then they said you can't do it to them.
Grots, yeah.
I think that's fine. I think that was a more reasonable thing to address, but not outright banning. They could have just upped Zodgrod's points.
Yep. And so this is one of the big things that I'm going to start by saying GW was in the right and the internet was not. Because after Adepticon, and Adepticon allowed the fully powerful, apparently broken detachment, at the end of the event of Adepticon, they're in the top 10 of the singles event, the main championships. There was 3 orc lists that used Dakkaa Detachment. that's a pretty big number, but also the internet was saying it was objectively broken. So I kind of expected to show up a lot, even if it wasn't true. But there was 3 orc lists. None of them broke the top 5. They were all like 6, 8, 9 or 6, 9, 10, something like that. And all 3 of the lists looked almost identical. 2 of them were basically identical, and the third one was slightly different, but I would call it identical. And the real issue here, and I made this argument from day one, is that the detachment wasn't the problem. If you look at the list from Adepticon, not only were the lists basically identical, but also they look like their only job was to spam about 4 data sheets. After that, everything they added was like an afterthought. I guess I'll take a unit of Beast Boys, or I guess I'll take a unit of like Grots. It was Tank Busters, Ludas, the mech with shock attack gun. Like, they were spamming that so hard that their list basically made it clear, if we were allowed to take a 4th data sheet of those, any of those, they would give up the whole rest of the list to continue spamming those 4 units. And if that's the case, that goes to prove that the detachment isn't the problem. It's the shooting units aren't pointed correctly. Because I don't care what the detachment is, it's pretty rare for any other detachment to basically spam that hard. Like, even the most competitive Space Marine list right now with Gilliman and Calgar and this and that, like, even then, they might spam, I don't know, a Ballistus Dreadnought, but they're not gonna like spam everything. They're not spamming like Hellblasters and this and that. And when they're spamming Ballistus Dreadnought, what happened? Well, the points went up on that during the last points update. It's not like they nerfed the detachment. It's not that, like, if they would have upped those 4 data sheets by like 5 points min squad across the board, it turns out every other detachment would have basically been minorly to entirely unaffected, because some of these data sheets, I would argue, were pretty rarely taken in the other detachments. So it doesn't change the balance of orcs, but this specific list would get really penalized. It would lose whole units, because when you're saying 3 times 4 units times 5 points, that's already a whole unit gone hard, easily. And then the fact that some of those units were max unit size, not min unit size, means like, well, there goes an enhancement and a unit.
Another unit, yeah.
Yeah, like a minor 5-point changes to min squads on 3 to 4 data sheets could have solved this whole problem.
Yeah, there's also some funny parts about this, which is I think this attachment could have been written to be way more interesting and less powerful at the same time. So they restricted it to orcs, orc infantry, and walkers, right? So they literally wrote out like buggies and flyers and speed freaks and other stuff, right?
Yep.
The thing about that is I get why they're doing it. They're still trying to stay away from making buggies too powerful because of how powerful they were in the past, I assume. It always seems
a little
like
gun shy. That's fine.
There's always a little bit of like paying for the sins of the past in new rules writing, it seems, but that's okay. The way I see it is they should have made the detachment like sustained 1, but for every kind of unit. Like, no restriction, but now it's only sustained 1, not 2, because everyone thinks that's too powerful, just 1. And now it gets kind of funny because it's like, okay, well, sustained 1 on a buggy is good, but it's not crazy. None of them have enough shots for that to go like really wild. And the one unit that like has like a lot of shots is already sustained 1 anyway.
I think they could actually have been more aggressive than that. I think you're right. It should be like sustained 1 across the board. And I say that because if you say it applies to everything, not just specific keywords, opening up those buggies and things like that allows for different list building opportunities. And in doing that by itself, it discourages spamming because now there's less data or there's more data sheets to try to find what's most efficient. And if nothing else, it's harder to figure out the final answer. Well, I think they could be more aggressive than that because I think it should have been sustained 1 across the board and then sustained 2 while the unit's in the WA.
I agree. I think that could be fine. Because it's not Bully Boy, so you're only going to get 1 WA. And the CP thing, which got changed to 2 CP, you can only do it to 1 unit. I think it could be worth it, but at 2 CP, that's pretty balanced. To say, I'll give that 1 specific unit 1 extra turn of WA for a bunch of CP. I think that's fair at 2 CP. I would argue that during the WA, like it's almost flipped from what I would want it to be. Because I would want assault only during the WA. Because only during the WA are you going to be able to advance and charge anyway. To where assault benefits things that want to shoot and charge. Potentially.
I mean, it's a shooting detachment, arguably assault all the time, so you can like get your bikes out around the building onto the objective and then still shoot. Like, I mean, bikes might already have assault, but
they do. That's the thing, is that a lot of the things that would do that already have assault, so it doesn't matter very much. The assault is literally only saying you can advance and shoot and charge instead of advance and charge. That's why it makes more sense to put it during the WA for the shooting detachment.
Yeah.
And then it's still like limited, but it makes it interesting, right? For some of the units. Anyway, the other thing is when you're going over the specific units that people were spamming, which they totally were spamming, not arguing about that. Zodgrad and the Supergrots, Zodgrad should still go up in points. I totally agree. The thing about that is the 1 CP put them in the WA every turn forever. I mean, there's like 7 buffs based on being in the WA for Supergrots, so it makes sense why they would spam that and then spam that stratagem on them forever, right?
Right, but we've talked about this before, it's not just that. Like, yes, that needed to be changed, but also Zodgrot, regardless of More Dakka Detachment, Zodgrot was like an auto-include in every detachment for orcs, in every competitive list. Like,
no, I agree. That's
he should go up in points because he was an auto-include, not because of More Dakka.
No, I agree. I just think that the craziness has already been taken away of what you could do with Zodgrad in the Dakka Detachment. It's just straight up not allowed anymore.
Correct.
I'm not saying it wasn't crazy. It absolutely was. I would say that that's way more broken than Sustain 2 by like a pretty big amount, because Sustain 2 is swingy, Zodgrad was not. And that's part of what made it so crazy. Anyway, moving on from that unit though, like Tank Busters, the new Tank Busters, or I should say Breaker Boys, or the Rekka Crew, however you want to look at it, that new kit and units that you can make, they are literally half the price per wound than the Tank Busters before, which everyone complained about being bad. They were totally bad. As Tank Busters before, you're paying a premium for 3 rocket guns, and now all of a sudden you have 6 with double the wounds and a 4-up save instead of a trash save.
Yeah, instead of 6-up.
And we're not even talking about their abilities that make their shooting better. We're just saying stat line straight up. So if you said that they need to go up because they're virtually the same points as the old Tank Busters, I'd say like, yeah, they probably do need to go up.
And we saw that before More Dakka Detachment, the new Tank Busters were starting to become like, maybe not spammed, but like an auto-include in some number in almost every detachment.
Yeah, and I think they'll still be an auto-include because they're just reliable anti-tank that orcs need in lists.
Yep.
I think arguably, what are they now, 160 points, 165? I think at their current buffs, even without the Dakka Detachment, they could probably be like 200 points. Yes, that's an absolute ton, but you're paying for like a glass cannon. So it's like if the cannon hits, you're definitely inflicting that much points worth of damage on your opponent. If it misses, that sucks, but that's also what playing orcs is, right?
Yeah.
And many things, orc shooting with infantry is extremely dependent on the first floor blocks line of sight thing that is not in GW's rules, but played everywhere. You take that away, now their threat range is less because they have to try to plan to get all the way to the other side of a building's wall. Instead of just a little 1-inch hop. It's really funny to me how many things orcs are sensitive to, and they're kind of like guard, right? You make a little change, and then that change explodes because you take 10 units of something. You know what I'm saying? So like you could spam some if all las guns, everything carrying a las gun got 1 point cheaper, that would be crazy, right?
Yeah, because of how many models you have.
Orcs kind of have the same effect with some of the units. So I get how it's hard to balance. Orcs sort of make up for it by being swingy. So you have to like leverage that. I think the other thing, like the shock attack gun is, I don't know that it needs to go up in points because unlike tank busters, its inherent buffs are pretty weak.
It's only when you combine it with the Ludas, so it gets full rerolls. And to be
only
fair,
on objectives though, so it's situational right. Still.
Yep.
And they don't have assault, so like
that's one of the big things about Dakkaa Detachment. Of like, yes, if you roll statistically average, you're hitting on like 4s, almost 3s, but you're normally hit on 5s. That's pretty good. The reality is that's still, like you said, extremely swingy. And the only time where that's arguably not true is with Ludas shooting at a unit on the objective. And now you're right. They kind of look crazy, but it's like the only shooting rerolls in orcs.
Also, competitively speaking, do you know, like that's so restrictive because you have to set up line of sight. Your opponent has to decide to stand on the objective. There's so much
in
stuff.
Line of sight. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much stuff that you're talking about putting an infantry unit in the open where you have line of sight. So that also means your opponent does. Like, do you know how easy it is to wipe a unit of those orcs off the table?
You mean with their 6-up save or best case 5-up invul?
Yeah. Some of the new tank busters, they have 4-up saves, but even so, it doesn't matter. And you're playing the Dakkaa Detachment in this scenario, right? So you're not playing Tactical Brigade where you're going to give them cover or stealth. You're not going to play double wah because that's the other detachment with bully boys. So at most, for one battle round, they have a 5-up invul, and that's it. There's so many things that can just wipe them out. Yep. You paid like 300 points or 210 points or whatever for this unit that's going to just absolutely kill something if your opponent does 3 things.
And then even if you do that, let's just say it totally works out and you got them. Okay, cool. Even if you swing up in points, the answer is you pass the turn and that unit's for sure dead.
Well, and here's a question for you. Where did those Dakkaa Detachment lists place?
6th was the best position, and then it was 8 and 9 or 9 and 10. I forget.
So, like, clearly something beat them.
Clearly a lot of things beat them. Because, again, going into Adepticon, the entire internet agreed this is the most game-warping detachment. It has to be banned. It has to be corrected. Like, according to the internet, places 1 through 5 and probably like 8 should have all been Dakkaa Detachment. It was that powerful.
Don't get me wrong.
It turned out to be not true, even kind of.
Well, and my thing is, there's so many things they didn't ban. Banning is the part that is really unique and sort of overstepping here. Wraith Knights got 9 months in the sun to just absolutely destroy everything. Easy peasy.
They had like stepping stones of like at the, 3 or 6 month mark. They like, okay, we're going to adjust towering, but they were still crazy. And then at I was probably like the 9-month mark. We made another update, which finally brought the Wraith Knight into alignment. But there was other issues with Eldar. So there was some stepping stones there. So this is to the point of GW is responsive and they're willing to listen to us and work with us. But one of the things I think we got to kind of move on to is to clarify what GW's response was, right? The internet was losing its mind, whether we pretend that it was justified or not. They were losing their mind. Then TOs overreacted, multiple TOs overreacted and hard banned it before GW was really allowed to respond to everyone's complaints. And because they banned it, GW said, all right, I have to throw my hands up now, right? If you're not willing to let us do our job, and we clearly have been responsive, we're clearly listening, we're trying to work with everybody. If you can't wait more than 2 weeks for us to get out an appropriate response, if you can't wait that extra week so that we can get data from Adepticon to see how hard we need to nerf this thing in order to make it fair and playable, well, GW just threw their hands up and said, all right, we're going to nerf it so hard that it's unplayable. It's like you didn't even get the detachment. And GW is clearly frustrated, right? They've been, for all their faults, they have been very good to us this edition about trying to work with us, about trying to find reasonable balance to make interesting choices all playable. And we, the internet as a whole, especially the TOs, I think that was the defining factor that pushed them over the edge. But the internet combined with the TOs banning it, GW absolutely said, fine, if you want to act like a child, I'm going to treat you like one and say you're not allowed to play this anymore. And that should be a warning to all of us. Yes, I'm not saying don't complain. I'm not saying that GW gets it right all the time. We can absolutely say, hey, this is broken, this needs nerfed, or hey, this is kind of trash, can you make this better? We want to give them that feedback, but we have to also give them an appropriate amount of time and let them collect data in order to respond appropriately. If we're going to lose our minds within 2 weeks and not give them time to react at all, then this is what's going to happen. Every new detachment they put out, they're just going to nerf into the ground, and it's like we never got one. And that's if they keep putting the detachments out at all.
Yeah, I agree. We just gave them a huge incentive not to.
Which sucks. Not just for orcs, not just for the people who got an extra detachment, but we got 4 extra detachments. How many factions are in the game? If orc players lost their mind and these TOs lost their mind, and now all the factions in the game minus these 4 don't get a bonus detachment. Not only did orcs basically lose their extra detachment, but they took away a detachment from every other faction, potentially. It's crazy.
What do you think, Aaron?
So I actually got to see some hands-on with this because my partner for doubles was using the More Dakka Detachment. And it was scary in the WoW, but it was reasonably scary. The problem was with our opponents, every single game, they did not respect his shooting.
Because he's an orc player. He melee.
Because he's an orc. Yep, exactly. And every single game, they were standing on an objective. And
standing out in the open.
He's standing out in the open. The thing was, they didn't respect the Blood Angels melee. And on top of that, they didn't respect the orc shooting. So there were multiple problems with our opponents in every single game we played.
And there's an argument to part of that is because people hadn't had enough time going against the new orc detachment. They heard it was crazy, but also I've played against a lot of orcs and they've never been that good at shooting. No. I need to every opponent needs to lose against the detachment once in order to be like, oh shit, you're right, their shooting is actually good now. And now that I see that, I can respect it better, and I start using cover like they're a Votann player or a Tau player. And then now that I'm using cover appropriately because I respect their shooting, well, now game 2, immediately I am like, their detachment's way less cool. But the only way you get there is by like time. I need more games against it, not just with it, but also against it.
Yep. The best example I have of the Dakkaa Detachment is we had our last match was against Knights and Tyranids and big monsters. The answer was Tyranids were bringing big monsters and Knights was bringing one big bot and the rest were like armatures. We had the Ludas in Deep Strike and they came out turn 3. Not Deep Strike, sorry. We had them in reserves. They came out turn 3 in opponent's deployment zone to take on a Tyrannifex. They killed it in one shooting phase, but they had several things going right for them. One, they were able to get back there. So there's a problem with their opponent's screening. They didn't screen us appropriately. 2, the Tyrannifex was tippy-toed on the objective. Bingo. Now they get their full rerolls. Great. Awesome. And 3, there were no enemy combatants back in the home deployment zone besides that Tyrannifex. So they had 3 things that had to go right, which magically did for them to actually be effective and sustainable. And then the second one was Canis Rex was the knight that they brought. Very, very tough. Got a pretty good invul. You know, everything's going great for it. It took 3 shooting phases of killicans and a fight phase to take down Canis Rex. But even then they said, oh, this is way too overpowered. I'm sorry. I disagree. Solely because it took 3 shooting phases and a WA fight to actually do anything to Canis Rex.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's always a points game, right? So like Canis Rex is a big knight. He's expensive. Fair. But knowing Frank's list, if he put all of his kill cans into him shooting wise, he was probably shooting the same number of points as Canis Rex each turn.
Yep.
So it took triple the amount of points worth of shooting in Dakkaa Detachment. And then also call it the, randomness of orcs because they always have it.
Yep.
He then had to also charge in order to get a little extra melee in. So it's more than triple the points were required in Dakkaa Detachment to kill an equivalent level knight.
Yep. And the same argument can be gone for the Tyrannifex because though it is a very durable and high wounds model, the problem was we had to keep a large quantity of points in reserve pretty much the whole game and hope for an opportunity to drop them back there in order to do that. And had I like to think had he moved off his home objective with the Tyrannifex the turn before, it wouldn't have been nearly as effective in shooting.
I would argue, talking of their surprise or saying that it's still too powerful, I would probably argue that if you were playing Votann with the exact same rules and the exact same stat lines somehow with this detachment, and you just named it all different, but the rules are the same, and you play Votann models, they wouldn't have even complained because they were going to say, oh, well, we expected those to be shooting, right? Mm-hmm. I think part of the instant reaction of that's too powerful, besides the internet part, is they're just saying, oh, you're an orc player. You're not supposed to be able to shoot. That's like saying there's a shooting corn list, right? The reality is Dakkaa has been a thing in orcs forever. It just hadn't had rules until recently that were decent. And now everyone's mad. They're mad that, typical, something changes and they're mad that it changed instead of accepting the change and realizing that the game's going to shake up a little bit.
Well, and that's the big thing that I discussed with all our opponents after each match was the problem you have is not that this list is broken. The problem is that your response to orcs was to get up in their face before they can get up in yours, stop their charges before they can charge you. By doing so, you left yourself in the open to be shot at. And the shooting hurt. because Frank's list had a ton of killicans and those Ludas.
Well,
and
typically in doubles, a shooting combo with a fighting combo is good if both players can like back each other up correctly.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And even with all that said, we did really well in our games. We still didn't even place the top 10 with the Dakaa Detachment. And that's the thing is that that's the point I tried to make while I was there. And I heard everybody talking about how broken the Dakaa is one, we played, I'd argue, a pretty optimized list. We still didn't even place top 10. It was still a struggle for us to get points on the board. You could have sat there and screamed at the top of your lungs that Dakaa was broken. But the reality is you just did not know how to fight into it. And it's just like Chris has kept saying, there wasn't enough time. Everybody should lose at least once to it to understand, oh, cover is important now.
Or just to understand, if I stand on the objective, next turn he's going to shoot me extra good.
Yep.
If you go in knowing that, you'll play a little different.
Yep.
Correct. Because that's one of the things of like, depending on the mission you're playing, right? There's times where I don't need to hold all the midfield objectives because I can only score 2 of them. And normally, playing against not I'm punished for being on the objective, you would kind of do that anyway, though. You'd get on all 3 objectives because it's like, well, I'll put some OC there to try to stop my opponent from scoring it. Well, that makes sense. But also, now that I've played against Dakaa, I'm only going to get on the 2 that score me. Why would I get on the 3rd one and just lose a unit for no reason? I'm not stopping them from scoring. I'm just making it easier for them to kill a unit while getting on the objective.
Yep. There's a lot of things that left me upset at the end of Adepticon when it came to this specific detachment, because people were focusing on the amount of bullets you get and how crazy those bullets can get and nothing else. That was the problem.
And it's also this. There's one, I keep dying on this hill. I think it is good for the game to be asymmetric, right? Everyone has some powerful units. Everyone has some units that are just meant to score points that aren't as powerful. The idea is that the theme and like tactics of those units are all a little different, and that's what makes the factions different, and that's what makes it interesting is the variety, right? If everything was straight up just Space Marines, there's only one detachment. Like even Horus Heresy doesn't do that, and it's arguably just Space Marines and I guess a little AdMech. The asymmetry is what makes War Games interesting, added with the fact that there's the randomness to it. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. If you roll all 6s, my detachment is absolutely fucking crazy. But it turns out people don't roll all 6s all the time. You could take like the weakest detachment of the weakest faction right now, and if you say every dice you roll will be a 6, it's going to seem absolutely nuts, isn't it? Well, that's not how the game works, right? Yeah, for every spike that a Dakaa detachment could have with Sustain 2, there are just as much not spiking. Just because the averages say you get like 14 shots out of a 10-shot unit because of Sustained, the reality is there's going to be a bunch of times where you get 3 hits. That's how the game works, and people are not looking at the averages or the fact that there's a bottom and a top end of what's possible. They're just saying, oh, that top end seems way too scary, so it's broken. But that's not how the game works.
Nope.
Yeah. I want to reiterate that, like, as much as we're kind of complaining about what's happened, I don't know that there's a lot of undoing it, right? Like, it's already happened. No. This is the reality that we live in. If there's a takeaway here, I really want everyone, like internet, TOs, across the board, I really want people to realize that GW is listening, and if we overreact, they will overreact, which is arguably fair. So it's not that we overreacted and then they overreacted and like now this is unfair to everybody. That doesn't matter. It's too late. This is the world we live in. But when we get our next detachment, when we get our next codex, maybe we just complain about, hey, this seems a little too powerful. Can you take a look at this, GW? And then we let them have their GT where they can get a bunch of data. And then they can say, like, yeah, you're right. I'll adjust that for you. Thanks. Like, if we go around banning detachments and we go around just losing our Reddit-loving mind, then GW is just going to stop doing new detachments. They're just going to say, what are they complaining about this month? Cool. Nerf it into the ground. It's not a part of the game anymore.
Your actions have consequences.
Who knew?
Right. Well, are we ready for a mid-break, gents?
I think we are.
Well, let's go on to our mid-break. Well, here we are in the middle of our show. Do you know the first thing we have to do? We have to thank our patrons. So, big shout out to what?
Why did you pluralize it? There's only one patron.
We have one patron For now.
The patron.
We have to thank the patron. Our White Shield Guardsman level patron, Mitch. So big shout out to Mitch. Thanks for being our first and only patron for now. That'll change.
Best.
You're the best.
There'll be more white shields until
you're right.
Until that
There's
planet
always more white
again.
shields.
Where do they come from?
I think they get farmed like corn. It's fine.
All right.
So big shout out to our patron, and also a big shout out to you, our listeners, because without you, we wouldn't have a show, or we'd do it and we just listen to it ourselves. You're real weird. But anyway.
You're weird. This is the mid break, and I'm feeling both mid and broken.
You're welcome. Sky, do you have something you want to talk to us about in this mid break?
Is it hobby stuff?
No.
No.
That's not till after the mid break.
Well, what, the new stuff we got in? Is that what you want me to talk about?
Yeah. Let's talk about the new stuff, our pre-orders right now we got going.
I don't know if I feel like telling people. We should just make them walk into the store. No, we got a bunch of new Bushido stuff and a lot of new paints from Lethal Shadows. Especially the fluorescent paints are super hot. We got Fallout in. We brought that back from Adepticon. And
Fallout Factions.
Fallout Factions. We're going to do a demo of it on the 26th. So, well, I don't know when this is going to come out, but the end of April.
Literally tomorrow.
Your tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to do some play of that game, teach people how to play. It's a pretty fun system. It's more streamlined than Wasteland Warfare. It's got some interesting stuff about how the luck system works. But it still uses special. So in Fallout theming, it's nice. Just come by a Saturday or probably some other miniature day of the week. We'd probably show you later on too. But our goal is to try to just get everyone in on that Saturday and we all throw dice at each other with Fallout themes.
Yeah. So on the other note, Chris, do you want to talk about some of the pre-orders we have to offer?
We have a bunch of pre-orders up right now. So we have Emperor's Children stuff that technically went up last week, but we still have holy cow, do I have a mountain of Fulgrims. But there's other stuff available too. Obviously, if there's anything you're looking for that you can't get local, please support local. Then you can always hit us up. We'll special order whatever it is you need. Even if we have already sold out of it, I will take care of you and we can ship anywhere in the US. In addition to that, we've got a bunch of other pre-orders. There's old world stuff up right now. There's, I don't think we have AOS pre-orders up at the moment, but we've got a whole bunch of other stuff coming every week. When you see it on Warhammer Community, the Sunday preview, we'll have it up. Shoot me an email. If you don't see it up, I will put it up for you. If not, we will get it in shortly.
Yeah, and all of that GW stuff is 15% off, isn't it?
All the time.
15% off.
All the time.
By the way, I would like to brain bug everyone about the Flawless Blades. Specifically the Flawless Blades kit. Their abs look like corn. Like corn on the cob corn. I'm going to have to take one of those cone heads and just paint them like a husk of corn.
Why does it look that way?
If anyone wants to donate me a model to paint in a really stupid way, I'm here for it. Order yours now.
You can find the address to send him a model so he can stupid paint it on our website. Oh God, I love it. All right, well, I think that's it for our mid break. Unless we want to talk about a sponsor.
It's us, Gopher Games. We have a couple of sponsors that we're talking to. More to come later. But
50% off all GW stuff and Modifius stuff now. So yay that.
I also want to throw out there that our Bushido stuff's 15% off. There's kind of like a theme.
What?
To the store.
You mean we give deals? That's crazy.
We try to do the best we can.
Because we love you. That's why.
Also, probably put it out there. We buy and sell used models, mostly GW ones. And at Adepticon, it was a big hit, but we're going to also bring it to Nova. So if you're going to Nova Open, you can look out for us there. And if you want to sell us stuff, you can always drop us an email.
Yeah. Well, I think that takes care of our mid-break. So let's go to the end of the episode. Here we are at the end of the episode. Now you can have hobby time, Sky.
Hobby time. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the Fallout Factions thing going here soon. So this last week, I painted up a bunch of models from their 2-player box set, which I think it's I can't remember the factions.
So you got the operators, and then you have the oh gosh, I forgot their name. They're the animal ones.
They got teddy bears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but they have a lot of teddy bears. I used a bunch of the new fluorescent paints on them and had fun just messing around. I did some fun combo wombo stuff with some of the paints. So we have the weathering paints from Dirty Down. There's like a gore effect and a bunch of other stuff. But the one that I used is I took their rust effect and I mixed it with metallic medium. Like one part metallic medium to like 3 parts their rust effect. And it was a really fun and stupid way to just immediately cheat to like the rusty pipe gun thing from the more recent Fallout games. An easy one-step way to get rusty guns or rusty anything, because the metallic shines through a little bit. So it's like you painted it over a metallic, but you skipped a step, you know? It's like metallic rust contrast. It's magic. I recommend everyone should try it.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it turned out super great. And then, of course, I did the fluorescent paints on them. So there's little pools of mysterious green goop. And I did like the teddy bears and stuff, the yellow stuff on one of the factions and some of the red on the other parts of their like lenses and things. So that way under like the black light, they look super cool. But also those fluorescent paints are useful like outside of having a black light in that they're really well pigmented bright colors. So like the yellow fluorescent kind of helps you highlight a regular yellow that's not fluorescent because it catches more of the light for like edge highlights and stuff. I would recommend it and just play with it, but it has usefulness outside of a blacklight because, I mean, there's still UV light like in regular daylight, so you still get an effect of brightness depending on how you use it.
I didn't even notice originally because I'm looking at the photo now. You painted the Nuka girl too. It looks so good.
I was already in the neighborhood. It's fine. Yeah, her abs don't look like corn.
She's got crazy abs. Like she works out like air day.
Yeah, well, they weren't showing up, and I only had a red wash when I was painting those things, and really her skin should be a little more pale to match like the artwork, but I just kind of went with it. It's fine. They're just demo models. Who cares?
Yeah, she got a tan.
I also been working on like Gene Stealer Cult stuff and finally building stuff. Building models is not like my preferred thing to do. I like painting a lot more, but we're getting there. We're like 1,000 points in, mostly in characters, because there's so many in Gene Stealer Cult. Good Lord, like 1 million characters. But that's what I've been doing. Have you guys hobbied anything recently?
I've been building some dudes. Put a new list together while we were at Adepticon. Building some more jumpy boys. It's about all I've gotten to.
I built a whole Cerastus Night Lancer for my Blood Angels.
That's not that much. That's like one model. I did like 12. Like, catch up already.
Listen, okay, we're not all as good as you. I painted him gold and white, like I usually do with the rest of my Blood Angels. And I like him.
Use the pearly stuff?
No, because the pearly stuff was out of stock when I went into the store to get it. Literally the day I was like, I got my night. I'm going in. I'm getting my paint. Gone. It was gone. So sad.
What is that? Pearly Gates? No, it's Motherload, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Motherload.
From Turbo Dork? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did it.
I was so excited.
If you ever see them, I did their Drop Fleet models, if you ever see them at a show. And I used that pearly white on the PHR, and it turns out really nice.
It did. That's why I went and looked at it, and I was like, aha, I want it.
PHR from Drop Fleet, by the way. They look like dolphins. They're supposed to be like techie ceramic hulled things, but they look like dolphins with underbites. Not that I'm trash talking the faction I don't play in Drop Fleet or anything, but anyway, that's all I got for hobby time.
Well, I guess if there's no other updates, I guess that brings us to the end of the episode, doesn't it?
Am I supposed to ask my question of the day?
Oh, there it is. Give us a question.
Okay. What part about the new Emperor's Children models do you find the most excessive?
Oh, God. You would ask that.
I mean, there's a lot of options.
There are several options. I want to give you several.
Well, you got to pick the tippy toppest one. It could be the top knot that's made out of their head. It could be the fact that they're all powered by Mountain Dew.
You might have to explain that reference.
All the new models have these canisters on them, which is pretty typical, but they're full of like green juice. It's definitely Mountain Dew in my opinion. Like that's my canon answer. Only Chaos has access to Mountain Dew. I mean, I might be getting corrupted, you know, but
I believe that.
Does that mean that like normal Astartes are like confined to Dr. Pepper and like Coca-Cola, like the most basic of flavors?
Probably. I just assume that they get like the different colors of Fanta. It's fine.
My answer for the excess is the cloth. My God, is there so much cloth on these models? They've got capes, drapes, and
I think they call it a loincloth.
There it is.
For those who understand English. I have a real issue with Fulgrim.
Yeah,
front and back, but I'll pick the front. The fact that like his front crotchal area is like skinned and opened into a little gem, that is absolutely a Family Jewels reference that was not needed.
It's fine.
I wish and you know what? I totally could, but I don't play Emperor's Children. I don't plan on playing Emperor's Children. If I did, I would probably shave all that off, green stuff it over, and close his little crotch flap. Nobody needs to see his Family Jewels.
I feel like, I don't know what his profile is like, but he should not have a 2-up save because of that hole. It should be like a 3-up instead, at best.
He's looking to get pierced.
My thing that I despise about basically all the Slaanesh stuff, I don't get the crab claw thing. I don't get it. I'll probably never get it. I don't like
gonna pinch you so bad you wish they didn't pinch you so bad.
I just like if I'm Space Marines and I'm like eating my enemies, which is a canon thing that happens, should I just like pack some extra butter and lemon for when we go to fight chaos? Because there's some shellfish going on here.
Oh God.
And we're in space. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I would also like to argue that if you count a head as an appendage, Fulgrim is actually a spider because he has 8 limbs.
Oh my God. That's the hill you're going to die on today?
Yeah. Yeah, because like the big snaky tail, that's 1. Then you got 4, let's call them regular arms, and then 2 wing arms and his head. He could totally spider up. In fact, you know what? He's posed wrong. Someone needs to turn him 90 degrees face down and paint him like a spider. Get the venom crawler, like big spider butt, and just like model it onto him.
It needs to happen.
Come on, Golden Demon right now. You guys are slacking.
Oh God.
Spider Snake 7-arm man.
That's what we're leaving this episode on. That's what
all I'm
next
saying
Golden Demon entry
is because you guys haven't done it yet, I'm already disappointed.
All right, we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Hurry up and build it.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron. I want to thank you again for tuning in for this episode of Gopher's Workshop with us, hanging out and listening. Remember, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. And if you feel like supporting us, you can always go to Patreon in the show notes below. Thanks. Till next time.